Today, we're aboard a space shuttle where there's an imposter among us, and their goal is to take every single one of us out. You might already know what we're playing today. It's Among Us in Elected Admin, and things are about to get interesting. While I wait for my role for the first round, I decided to get familiar with the map since I haven't played Among Us in years and honestly forgot how everything is laid out. But eventually we were given our roles, and wouldn't you know it, we got the imposter. Now it's time to play smart, keep our cover, and see if we can take everyone out without getting caught. The first thing I did was complain about being a crewmate, just to throw everyone off. Because if anyone even suspected me, I wanted them second-guessing themselves. He then noticed this guy leaving the group, so I tried to follow him and get him somewhere out of sight for my first kill. But of course, he turned around and went right back to the group. Eventually, I triggered a lights out and went after him again, hoping the darkness would finally give me the perfect opportunity to make my first move. And just like that, our first kill was done. Now I had to get as far away from the area as possible, so I wouldn't be seen near the body and become an obvious suspect. But then someone called a meeting, and almost immediately, they started pointing the finger at me as a suspect. Things were getting way more stressful than I expected. I quickly went to clear my name by accusing the guy beside me, who was flashing a knife. I wasn't even sure if he was one of my teammates or not, but I had to make sure I stayed alive and didn't become the next suspect. And somehow my plan worked. Everyone ended up voting them out instead of me, so I managed to stay in the game and get away with it. The problem was, he wasn't actually the imposter. Deep down, I already had a pretty good idea he was innocent. But since I was already being suspected, I had to act completely surprised when everyone voted him out. I couldn't let anyone realize I was the one behind it. I was up next to be voted off, so I had to think fast. Then I realized there were only 2 crewmates left, and the imposter wins by eliminating almost all of the crew. That meant I didn't need some crazy plan. I just needed to take out one more person, and it was game over. And just like that, I won. Imposters win. Next round, I was a crewmate, and after my last game as the imposter, I knew I was probably going to be a target, both for getting voted out and for getting killed. So this time, I had to play it safe and keep a low profile. For this round, I decided to stay on cams and keep an eye on everyone, hoping I could catch the imposter in the act before they had a chance to strike. But then, I noticed Orange was acting pretty jumpy and keeping his distance from the group, almost like he was waiting for the perfect opportunity. I decided to take the bait and follow him, knowing that if my hunch was right, there was a very real chance I might not survive. We walked for a little while, getting farther and farther away from everyone else. Then, out of nowhere, Orange stopped and turned around. That was all the confirmation I needed. I knew I had to run. I thought he had stopped following me as I sprinted toward the emergency button to call a meeting, but then he suddenly appeared in front of me again. Luckily, I made it to the button just in time. I started explaining to everyone what had just happened, but they didn't believe me. They still thought I was the imposter from the previous round, and before I could convince them otherwise, I was voted off. At this point, I felt completely betrayed. There was nothing more I could do, so I just accepted my fate and let them have their way. Little did they know, they were about to find out just how wrong they were. I can't pretend I felt too bad about it. After all, I was thrown off a spaceship for no reason, but in the end, I was proven right. They might have learned the hard way, but at least they finally knew I wasn't the imposter. Next round, I was a crewmate again. Hopefully this time, I wouldn't have a giant target on my back from the games before. This round, I wanted to team up with someone since everyone else seemed to be sticking together. But after everything that happened in the previous rounds, no one really trusted me enough to team up. But I still didn't want to walk around alone and risk going missing, so I decided to stick with one player and follow them around. At least that way, I wouldn't be an easy target by myself. That didn't end well though. because they ran straight to the emergency button and instantly started accusing me of being the imposter. Somehow, I had managed to make myself look even more suspicious just by trying to stay safe. I told everyone it was just a joke and that it wasn't worth losing a potential crewmate this early in the game. Luckily, the majority listened and decided to skip instead of voting me out. Eventually, I noticed I was being followed, and at that point, I had a feeling he had to be the impostor. The host was even spectating us, almost like he knew something was about to happen, which made me even more suspicious. But then I stopped. I was in full view of someone standing by the emergency button, so suddenly he only had two choices: kill me and get himself voted off immediately, or walk away and try again somewhere else. But then the power went out, and both of them headed off to restore it. I had a feeling someone wasn't going to make it back, but that also meant whoever returned would have some serious explaining to do, and most likely would be the imposter. But then I heard it. The sound of a slash followed by a scream. That was all the confirmation I needed. I immediately knew I had to call a meeting, because whoever showed up next would have to be the imposter. It was Noel the Bacon that was following me, and Orange was nowhere to be seen. I did have to explain the logic behind the vote, because this fish brain still thought it was me. But once they heard me out, they realized I was right, and Noel was voted out. But before Noel left, he turned around and stabbed. But regardless of that, it was still a win for the crewmates. Anyways, the last round ended very soon and abruptly since the imposter vented right in front of everyone. But there was one problem. The host, who had the power to throw the imposter off, wasn't in sight. So there was no one to stop the imposter. Eventually, he came back after we lost, and we told him what happened. Anyways, that's going to be the end of today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you want to see more content like this, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, and until next time.